During her sophomore year of college, Maggie's anxiety came full surface after struggling academically, and soon she stopped sleeping. After seeking help at Student Health Services, she met with forms and waiting lists. Overwhelmed and seemingly alone, she just fell apart. She's here today, all the way from Rhode Island, I might add, to bring awareness to the issues of mental health and lack of support in the collegiate world. This is her story about how she came out on the other side. Here she is with 1, 2, 3.
"20 years old and no longer sleeping. I was a sophomore in college and had just started taking courses for my major. During my English Lit class, I handed in my first essay, beaming with pride. A week later, I was handed back my sweet, wonderfully crafted from the heart essay with a fat red D at the top. This was the moment. I can remember sitting on the floor of my dorm, reading through her comments, noting her markings, and still mystified. The information, sentence crafting, and effort was there. It wasn't good enough. But this was where I was supposed to be good enough. As a person that has always identified as type Z, unpredictable at best, over time I developed type A tendencies. Those type A tendencies emerged fully in high school when my energy and hyperactivity turned from bouncing in my seat and dancing feet to sitting still and taking notes. Without movement, my energy manifested itself into manageable anxiety. Make lists, check items off, breathe, repeat. An anxiety I thrived in until my very own D-Day. Except instead of war, it was a big, fat red letter on an essay I so willingly and happily wrote. My anxiety and hyperactivity turned into something else entirely. It began after my second essay. I would lie in bed, motionless, heart racing, chest pounding, covered in sweat. I now know these as panic attacks, but at the time, it felt like I was about to die. 1, 2, 3 essays in a row splattered with the red D. As sleep escaped me, I soon discovered the weekends were the only time I could achieve shut-eye through pure drunken glory. That's what I yearned for, a chance for my brain to be immersed in alcohol and I would fade out, blackness. What a sad little self-centered millennial I was. I get one bad grade and go out of my tree. I knew what was happening to me wasn't normal. I knew not sleeping wasn't normal. I knew I needed to talk to someone. But how do you explain to someone who knows nothing about you that nothing is wrong, yet everything feels wrong? How do you explain that you no longer feel anything? How can you possibly put into words that feeling nothing is far worse than feeling too much? I decided to meet with my advisor to discuss my failing grades and changing my major. She is who I credit with keeping me on the ledge instead of over it. We looked at my transcript. Before she could open her mouth, I opened mine. Heart racing, bags under my eyes, pants sagging on my hips, spilling outwards about my poor grades and wanting to switch majors. She asked me why. I gestured wordlessly at my transcript. She shrugged. "You got a bad grade. You're suffering from anxiety. Do what makes you you, and I promise you'll feel better. This grade isn't who you are. Don't make it turn you into something you're not. Whenever things truly feel like they're out of control, count to 3. Put your hand over your heart and count. Now go, read and write. 1, 2, 3. There it was, a name put to who I was, anxiety. First, I began to write. Finally, I was able to put words to the black sludge that flowed through my brain, rolled down my spine, puddling around me, my very own shadow. Some people walk their dog around. I walked my sludge around. Still, my nights went without any shut-eye, spent scribbling in my journal. Over winter break, I offhandedly told my parents about my lack of sleeping, casually, as not to raise alarm. And my dad mentioned running. A week into second semester, my legs felt restless. I stared out my window at the sun rising above the trees. Without thinking, I got up and threw sneakers on. I started to run. It began a routine. Every morning I would run around the quiet, empty campus. My brain would stop scrambling, my restlessness calmed, and my heart beat for another reason entirely. As I began to delve into the semester and write, my grades flourished, my running continued, my sludge started to disappear. One morning on a run, 3 months later, I crossed paths with a 60-something-year-old Jamaican man, dreadlocks braided high on his head, running in the opposite direction of me. I smiled. Us, the only two souls together in the entire world. He turned around and gave me the thumbs up and said, "God bless you. This is how you keep alive." I'm still here. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.